All right, welcome back, Flash Fest fans. We had to take a week off. It was kind of like our bye. We had a lot going on, but hey, we're back. We're back with the Week 9 breakdown. So let's get right into it. Everything is shaping out really well in the league. Teams are fighting. Nobody's completely out of it mathematically, even though some teams are more terrible than others. Everybody still has an opportunity. So let's go into the recap. First, we had the Bombers taking on the Proselytes. The Bombers was one of those teams that pretty much looked terrible. The last few weeks, they've turned it around. Lewis has got them playing 2-game winning streak, holding on to his playoff chances. So they went ahead last week and took it to Lewis took it to Sadiq, beat up on him 135 to 126. It really came down to Monday night, the battle of the Colts against the Giants. Sadiq was hoping for points from his tight end. Lewis was hoping for some great defense, and Lewis got the win. Congratulations to Tom Brady for snapping out of his early season slump and just really turning it on. Goes to show you, man, that a true veteran is going to figure out a way to get it done. 38 points for Tom Brady, way to lead the team to the victory. Next game, we had the Pundits taking on Gorilla. Huge game. Gorilla had a chance because Phillip Rivers, who previously I would have made a strong argument for being MVP, not anymore, because he hasn't been really playing all that well the last couple of weeks. But Phillip Rivers, he came to work that day and did absolutely nothing. Between Phillip Rivers and Andy Dalton, I don't know which quarterback played worse between last week and what I just saw on Thursday. But anyway, Phillip Rivers gave Patrick -4 points. You might get that from your defense, but you're not supposed to get negative points from your quarterback. And we've seen it a couple of times this season. So Phillip Rivers, he gave him -4, but Alfred Morris in the backfield, 24. DeAndre Hopkins, great grab for Patrick out of Houston, 20 fantasy points, and it helped Patrick get the 113, 92.5 victory over Kevin. Kevin's going to have to do something. He's 2-7 right now. Eli Manning gave him 26 and Jeremy Hill 32.5, but that Chargers defense, -5. Your kicker, 0. So Kevin's going to have to do something before the over the next couple of weeks. We got 3 weeks left to really get into it. Maybe 4, but you really got to do something over these next 3 weeks. So moving back into the next game, the Savages took on the Giants. Great game. Stop sleeping on Larry, y'all. I gave him the name Sleepy Giants, and I'm about to change it because he's been winning since I gave him that name. He's number 1 in the division right now, 6-3, doing great things. It was pretty impressive because Nick Foles went out on what I would consider to be a dirty play as an Eagles fan. Nick Foles went out. No idea when he's going to return. And so the Eagles have Mark Sanchez. And, Larry took it on the chin, and he just kept bouncing right back. So Deshaun Jackson gave him 20. I think Larry is in love with anything that came out of a professional Philadelphia team. He got Deshaun Jackson, 20 fantasy points. Sanu, great grab for him, 17 fantasy points. So in a very low-scoring game, Larry managed to beat Kima 80-75. So even though Kima had 41 points from Andrew Luck, really nobody else on her team did anything. Broncos defense -2. I mean, you can't win like that. So moving on to the next one, we had Juan, Los Smashers taking on Whippay. Juan is another one of those teams that he's been winning a lot lately. He said he was going to hang in there. He wasn't going to consider trading his stud, Big Gronkowski, and Gronk showed up for him, 20.5. It's amazing just watching Big Gronk do everything that he does. So Juan was able to get some big points from him. At some point, somebody's going to push him off the line to mess up their timing. So it's going to be interesting to see who takes on that challenge. But for right now, Juan was able to get the win. Drew Brees 17. Beckham 19. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when Beckham and Cruz get on the field. So I know Giants fans will be happy, but they'll have to wait until next year because this season is done. But anyway, Juan, great W. Chris tried Carlson Palmer. Palmer gave you like 25 fantasy points, but it just wasn't enough. So moving on to the next one, we had the Cam Stanzas taking on the Zip Dogs. We all expected, like, if you went to Vegas and you put money on it, like, the odds would have probably been, they would have probably given Von maybe like 20 points, because the records were just tremendously different. It didn't matter. Marcus picked a great week to lay down. Von appreciated it. He jumped up. He got the W. So congratulations to you, Von. And a solid return performance from Robert Griffin III. He played fairly well against Minnesota. One big turnover, which took away a couple of points from Von, but all in all, IR3 he did pretty well. So congratulations to Von on a W this week. Marshawn Lynch, 29.5, clearly his stud, not giving him up in the trade to anybody. It just helped him bounce back. So he ended up using his players to beat to beat Marcus by 32 fantasy points. So even with the odds, Von would have went ahead and took that W. Russell Wilson, 10 fantasy points for Marcus. I laugh because he used Marcus. He used Russell Wilson. So Marcus, that's funny. Redskins defense against Minnesota, who when I think of Minnesota, I don't think good, but they're playing okay. Somehow they have they're doing okay. And the Redskins against somebody that has no business tearing apart their defense, somehow got beat. So it hurt Marcus. He only got one fantasy point. So good win to you, Von. Way to hang in there and to make the push for the playoffs. And then in our next game, we had Jedi taking on No Chance. This dude, Mike, North Carolina, is that what the NC stands for? No Chance, man. Mike is taking it to everybody. 7-2 right now, number one in the whole league. Big Ben, 53 fantasy points, man. I'm impressed because when that guy, the guy that was allegedly charged for, well, that's none of my business. Cup of tea. But when Big Ben got 53 fantasy points, man, he's been tearing it up the last few weeks. I don't know if anybody can slow him down. So as long as Mike is riding Big Ben, he's gonna be doing all right. Christian put up 138 fantasy points. I mean, that was pretty much more than anybody else in the league except for Mike. So Mike gave him 160 and a half fantasy points. I mean, that's like a fantasy dream. You're probably not going to lose when you put up that many points. So congratulations to you, Mike, on scoring a high score. Shout out to Jeremy Macklin for the 32 fantasy points that he gave you. Good job, Mike. So overall in the standings right now, this is how it's looking. We got 4 weeks left. 4 weeks to really get it together. And at the top of one division is 6-3 with Marcus and Larry. And then at the bottom of that division is 2-7, Bowie Zip Dog. So Von, you still have a chance. Again, mathematically, over these next 4 weeks, you can still make it. 3 are really critical because they're division games. But you still have a chance to make it in. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Mike, you're on a 5-game winning streak. I don't know if anybody's going to slow you down right now. And as long as your quarterback is playing that way, you're going to continue to do great things. So right now, Mike is trying to hold on to the number one spot. Mathematically, even over the next 4 weeks, because Kevin is sitting at a lowly 2-7 and Juan is at 3-6. Mathematically, based on what he's already done in the division and how he's been pretty much just taking it to everybody, Mike is already in the playoffs. So congratulations to you, Mike. And it's going to be an interesting way to see if Kevin can bounce back, if he can pull out, if Juan can bounce back and pull up in the standings, and Chapel Hill. We expect them to get in there consistently. I think if one day if Patrick doesn't make the playoffs, then I think that might be the end of Flash Fest. Clearly, something is going on. There's some miscalculations taking place. That or his draft involved him being completely drunk, or like a lot of professional athletes, Patrick got married and then his logic just got shot. Anyway, that's it for this week's breakdown. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.